These readings this morning deal with death, life, transformation from death into life. This psalm, out of the depths have I cried unto thee, O Lord. Lord, hear my voice, is a sentiment probably known to everybody here at some point or another. We hear in this long gospel the story of Lazarus. We hear last week the long story of the blind man who saw. The week before that, a long story about the woman at the well. You may be wondering why in these last 3 weeks of Lent, the gospel passages seem to have gotten longer and longer and longer. I really don't know, but it could be that with Good Friday approaching, that those in charge of the Revised Common Lectionary wanted us to be able to have a little more time with Jesus before he dies. Maybe. In each of these stories, there is a moment of revelation. The woman at the well says, one day Messiah will come. Jesus says to her, I am he, the one who is speaking to you. Jesus tracks down the man who once was blind and says, do you believe in the Son of Man? The man says, who is he, sir? I am he, the one who is speaking to you. Martha, in today's reading, I know my brother will rise in the resurrection at the last day. Jesus says to her, I am the resurrection and the life. Do you believe this? And she says, yes, Lord, I believe. And here on the third occasion of Jesus saying who he is to the person he is talking to is the acceptance. Yes, Lord, I believe. And with Martha's profession of belief and acceptance of Jesus as the resurrection and the life, that those three gospels are linked, and there is a conclusion, a resolution reached between Jesus and the one to whom he speaks. Ezekiel talks about the valley of the dry bones and new life. The bones stand and will no longer be isolated apart from their country or each other. Lazarus is in his tomb in the dark by himself. Jesus speaks to him too and says, come out. And Lazarus comes out after being dead for 4 days. I don't know if you can imagine, as I tried to, what that would feel like for Lazarus. You're there in the dark, alone, and you hear a voice dimly, because you've got bandages around your ears. But the voice persists and calls you by name. And Lazarus, in his body that was dead, crawls out shuffles out, limps out of the dark into the light. The reason that I'm going on about all this is for two reasons. One, Jesus speaks to each of us and calls us each by name. The second is that you can, if you want, view this story as an illustration of the workings and the development of the soul. As you know, I served at Ground Zero really from the day it happened through June, the beginning of June. I have done my best to not think about that, except when I wanted to. And I was doing fine until I saw the movie All Quiet on the Western Front. And I got triggered big time by the trenches, by the destruction, by the dismembered bodies. And I went right back. And I realized because of that, that I have been living at the bottom of that pit at Ground Zero for 22 years. Nothing in that situation inside me has changed until a couple of weeks ago. I was suspended in that time bubble alone. It felt dark because I was there mostly at night. And it wasn't until this course on reconciliation that there was a way forward out of that internal place. The idea of justice moved me forward. How can there be justice for the victims? And I have been holding that space for a long time, with the possibility of justice for the remaining 5 alive hijackers. The way forward is there. And I have moved out of my dark isolation in the face of horror into a new relationship with it, with me, with my family, with you, and with the world. Jesus is still speaking to each of us. The only fixed point, the only point of certainty in my internal world was God. I knew God was there. I knew God was keeping me safe. What I didn't realize is that I was stuck. I'm not stuck. And this whole experience I am sharing with you because in you somewhere now or a while ago or to come, there may be a similar place that needs to be looked at. Maybe there isn't, but maybe there is. That needs to be looked at. And in time, when it's safe, or whatever it is, to be invited to come out of the dark, out of the isolation, back into relationship. That's what all these readings today are about, is inviting us into deeper relationship with God and with each other. At the end of Lent, there is no better invitation to come to listen to what Jesus is saying to you. Amen. Amen.